All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about the 5 mistakes that, let's be honest, can absolutely tank a machine learning project. We're going to build a professional grade workflow that takes you from a cool notebook experiment to a rock solid system that actually delivers value in production.
So, why is this even a topic? I mean, you know the feeling, right? You've worked for weeks, your model is getting fantastic scores, the loss curve looks beautiful, and then you deploy it. And it just falls apart. It can't handle new data, it makes weird, costly mistakes, and the whole project is suddenly on shaky ground. So, what's really going on? Well, here's the thing, it's almost never the fancy algorithm you chose that's the problem. It's the workflow, or lack thereof. The shortcuts you can take in a weekend project are the very things that will break a production system. So let's stop thinking like a student and start building like a pro. We're going to build a robust workflow piece by piece. Okay, first up, and this is by far the most important, the data foundation. You've all heard garbage in, garbage out. Honestly, that's putting it mildly. In ML, it's more like garbage in, invisible, time-delayed disaster out. Bad data hides deep, deep flaws that you won't see until it's live and causing real problems. Just look at this transformation. On the left, that's reality. Messy data, full of nulls, features with totally different scales, like age and income, plus all sorts of little errors. A professional workflow doesn't ignore this. It attacks it. We're talking systematically filling in missing values, using the median for numbers, the mode for categories, and using tools like Standard Scaler to put everything on a level playing field. That way, your model isn't biased towards one feature just because it has bigger numbers. And this brings us to our first neural signal check. At the enterprise level, this has nothing to do with being tidy. It's about building a predictable, reliable system. You can't have a model that's making financial decisions go haywire because it saw a null value for the first time. A solid pre-processing pipeline isn't just a chore, it's the bedrock. It's how you build a system that the business can actually trust. Okay, on to stage 2, the sanity check. And man, this is where so many good intentions go wrong. You get that 99% accuracy on your training data, you pop the champagne, but hold on, that's one of the single most dangerous rookie mistakes you can make. Thinking a high training score means you're done. The boogeyman here is, of course, overfitting. Your model didn't learn the general patterns, it just memorized the training set, noise and all. It's like it crammed for an exam. It knows the answers to the specific questions it studied, but give it a new question on the same topic, and it's clueless. In production, we don't need a memorizer. We need a model that can think. So what's our defense? K-fold cross-validation. This is your #1 sanity check. Instead of one simple train test split, you split the data into, say, 5 chunks or folds. You train on 4 and test on 1. Then you rotate and do it again and again, 5 times. By averaging those 5 scores, you get a much more honest look at how your model will actually perform in the wild. And pro tip, use stratified K-fold. It makes sure each fold has the same mix of classes, which is absolutely vital for imbalanced data sets. Time for our second neural signal check. Let's be blunt, in an enterprise setting, an overfit model isn't just useless. It's a ticking time bomb. It gives everyone a false sense of confidence right before it fails spectacularly. Cross-validation isn't just some academic box-checking exercise. It is the core engineering practice you use to prove to yourself and to your stakeholders that this thing can actually be trusted on live, unseen data. All right, so we've got a solid baseline model that we know isn't fooling us. Now we can move to stage 3, the performance boost. And here, we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because these mistakes are totally related. Not crafting your features and just blindly using the default model settings. This stage is what separates a decent model from a killer one. Let's talk features first. Using a tool like RFECV, that's recursive feature elimination with cross-validation, isn't just about code. It's about strategy. The goal is to find the smallest, most powerful set of features. Why? Because a leaner model is less complex, runs faster, costs less to serve, and, this is a big one, is way easier to explain to the business. That's a massive win all around. The other half of the equation is hyperparameter tuning. Think of these as the dials and knobs on your algorithm. They control everything about how it learns. Just using the defaults is like taking a high-performance sports car and leaving it in economy mode. You're leaving so much performance on the table, it's not even funny. So we don't guess, we get systematic.
You defined a grid of settings you want to try out, just like this example here, and you let a tool like Grid Search CV do the heavy lifting. It will methodically test every single combination using cross-validation under the hood to find the absolute best setup for your specific data. It turns tuning from a black art into a proper engineering discipline.
And that's our neural signal check for this section. Remember this. Defaults are just a starting point. They are almost never the optimal choice. When you systematically tune your model, you are squeezing out every last drop of performance. And in business, every single percentage point of improvement can translate directly into real money. More fraud detected, more sales closed, you name it. All right, on to our final stage. And this one is a silent project killer. It's the final verdict. You've done all this incredible work, and now you have to decide if it's a success. But what if you're measuring the wrong thing? Mistake number 5 is all about picking a success metric that sounds good, but has nothing to do with your actual business goal.
So let me ask you this. Is 95% accuracy a good score? I mean, every instinct says yes, of course. But in the real world of messy, high-stakes data, the answer is a hard no. It can be a terrible score. Let me show you why. Let's say we're building a fraud detection model. And in our data, 95% of transactions are totally normal and only 5% are fraudulent. You could build a model that does nothing but predict not fraud every single time. And guess what its accuracy would be? 95%. An A+ score for a model that is completely, utterly useless.
This is exactly why we have to look past accuracy for problems like this. We need smarter metrics. Precision tells you, when my model flags something as fraud, how often is it right? That's about minimizing false alarms. Recall tells you, of all the actual fraud out there, how much of it did my model catch? That's about finding what matters. The F1 score is just a nice balance between the two. These metrics tell the real story.
And for our final neural signal check, choosing the wrong metric isn't a simple technical mistake. It is a fundamental business strategy error. If you optimize for accuracy in that fraud scenario, you will deploy a do-nothing model. That's a disaster. Picking the right metric, like recall, ensures that your entire engineering effort, all those steps we talked about, is aimed at solving the actual business problem.
So let's wrap this all up into a single playbook. First, you build a rock-solid foundation with clean data. Second, you validate everything with cross-validation so you can trust your results. Third, you find the leanest, most powerful features. Fourth, you tune your model to squeeze out maximum performance. And finally, you evaluate it all with a metric that actually matters to the business.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Our goal isn't just to get a model to work. It's to build a model that creates real, tangible value. So take a hard look at your own process. Is it just a bunch of disconnected technical steps? Or have you designed a workflow that is truly built from the ground up to deliver value? Think about it.